What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I wanted to actually share a snippet of an interview that I just did on how we actually set goals in our business, both big picture and every 90 days. So let's hop on over to that segment, and I hope you enjoy. In the comment section below, I want to hear your takeaway from how we set goals and see how you set goals. Is there anything that I may be missing that we could potentially add? I'd love to know. Let's just jump right in. There's kind of two ways that I look at goals. I mean, like I look at kind of my 1 year, 3 year, 5 year kind of big picture goals. As you get further out, I think they're a little bit blurrier, but from like inside the business, every single quarter we go through like a self-assessment of we look at our lead generation, our lead nurture, our sales, our fulfillment, and our like upgrades, retention, resell, upsell. And we say like, what's the biggest bottleneck? Like which one's the current bottleneck? Oh, it's lead nurture. Okay. So let's figure out how we can fix lead nurture for the next 90 days. And so then we'll kind of come up with, I'm sure some people have heard the term OKRs, objectives and key results. We'll come up with like 1 to 2 objectives with some key results to make lead nurture not a bottleneck anymore in the next 90 days. And then we get to the 90 days and we say, hey, okay, it went from being a bottleneck to being a strength. Like, what's the bottleneck now? Oh, it's fulfillment. You know, we've been adding so many more new clients that like fulfillment's starting to break, or we need more help in fulfillment. It's like, okay, what are the objectives? What are the key results to fix fulfillment? How are we going to measure that 90 days from now? And so that's kind of how we focus. It's how we help our clients kind of put together game plans as well. But I do think like so that's like, I think more tactical, like inside the business quarterly, but we definitely look at, you know, like how many clients do we want to serve this year? And, you know, if we sell at this price point, like what does the revenue look like? And, you know, what do I want my day-to-day look like? And all of those things, you know, I think, you know, to go off the hashtag goals, I think one of the biggest things that COVID made us do, or at least pay more attention to, was I feel like goals without constraints are really, really useless, because like most people listening could probably build a 7-figure business way faster than they probably thought they could, but likely with making a lot of sacrifices that they're probably not willing to make, like work 24/7, like, you know, don't have any friends, like don't go out, like don't part, like all these things that, you know, some people are willing to sacrifice. And those are the people that, you know, you can't compare yourself to, because they're willing to sacrifice things that you are not. So there's no point in comparing. And so I think understanding like what are your goals, but then more importantly, like what are your constraints to get there? So like, for example, when, you know, COVID happened, you know, a lot of people went into like having to deal with their kids being home. Now we didn't thankfully have to deal with like legit homeschooling because our kids are too young. They're still in like daycare, but you know, we had temporary daycare, and like it wasn't full time like it normally was. So we had to rework the schedule. And so Greg couldn't work on Fridays, like, cause my schedule was more flexible. So my wife, you know, she watched the kids on her day off, which was Wednesday, and Greg took Fridays off, and like he was with the kids. And so like I had to figure out how to hit our goals with a 4-day work week. And how do I manage my team with 4 days? And so like because of that constraint, we got even more focused on like, okay, well, you don't have enough time to do all of these things. So like, what's the one thing that you're going to focus on? Because you only have like 8 hours of production time a week after all your meetings and all the other stuff. So like either we push out the deadlines or we just focus on fewer things. And so I think, you know, now every time we create goals, we'll just add constraints. Like, for example, hey, we want to hire this new person, but we don't want Greg to have to be involved at all in the interview process. So like, how do we bring on this key role without Greg being involved at all? Like Greg doesn't interview them. Like, so who on the team is stepping up, right? And so that was, you know, then we have to solve that problem. And that allows us to put together, you know, some key action items that allow us to hit these goals.